This is Sparky the Lion, and I am live, quietly live, from a village hall on the Essex coast, and I need you to understand what this room is. Tonight, this room is hosting a beginner's salsa class. 14 adults, one instructor, a speaker with a low battery. That is what this room is tonight. On Thursday, this room becomes the single most consequential room in England. On Thursday, this exact floor, which is currently being stepped on in 3/4 time by an accountant named Colin, will hold the count. 34 candidates. 34. That is a record. The previous record stood since 2008, and it stood the way records stand, quietly, assuming nobody would ever be so thorough again.
It was Monday, 3 days before Thursday. Everyone in the hall could feel the Thursday, except the salsa class, who could only feel the Tuesday, because that is when the chairs arrive.
I can hear you. I'm doing the chairs.
He was not doing the chairs.
There is a board outside this hall. I have seen it, where the names go up. The man who letters the board ran out of board. He is sent away for more board. 34 names, and among them, polling second, I will report this plainly and with the professional dignity it demands, a gentleman who wears a bin.
I'm Harold. I'm here for the salsa.
Nobody in this hall has voted yet. Nobody in this hall can vote yet. Everything in this hall is, and I've checked the word, I've had 3 days, the word is correct, Due. I'm Sparky the Lion, and this has been early.
You're locked in to element 47. I'm Breezy Fontaine, and the word tonight is due. Roll it around. It's a small word wearing a wristwatch. Housekeeping. It is warm out there, people. The warnings run through Wednesday through not until the distinction is thermal, so hydrate, find shade, and pace your festivals. And there's a memo under my fader. It's been there since Friday. It says the word exploring, and it says the word Tuesday, and I want to be honest with you. I don't have Tuesday music. I checked the crates. I have Monday music, and I have late Monday music. That's the whole collection. Coming up, everything, Due Thursday.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Consolidated. Consolidated. It was always Consolidated. Consolidated has noticed something about events. They occur, and upon occurring reviews are in never quite the night before them. This week a film earned $72 million before it came out. The largest eve in the history of evenings. People paid to be early. The film then arrived and the money slowed to the ordinary speed of money. Consolidated has studied this. Consolidated is proud to introduce the eve. The eve is the night before. The night before what? Before anything? You choose the anything or you don't, and the eve works either way better, in fact, unassigned. The eve never arrives. That is the guarantee. It is printed on the box, which has not shipped.
I've been using the eve for, well, it hasn't started. And I can feel it not starting. Every night, I go to bed on the edge of something. I wake up still the edge. My doctor says my anticipation is the strongest he's ever graphed. I also endorse the film. I have not seen it. That's the premium tier.
Consolidated is additionally required to disclose, and elects to disclose enthusiastically, the following. Consolidated is considering a hostile acquisition of Utreberos due to their rapid ascent in amalgamated vertical and horizontal solutions. Consolidated wishes to clarify the word hostile. The hostility is not personal. The hostility is structural. Consolidated notes that Utreberos eats its own tail, and Consolidated regards this as an inefficient use of a tail that Consolidated could be eating. Consolidated, the eve, sleep on the edge of it.
Be seated. Last Monday, at the final second of this program, the floor moved. The low note, the pedal, the drone, the tone you have been standing on since the professor introduced it, resolved downward by 1 step, and the show ended before anyone could ask. I have now had 7 days, and I will tell you what your ears already suspected. In the grammar of music, a bass that descends 1 step is not wandering. It is announcing. A bass that steps down is preparing a cadence. This program has been announcing its own ending for 7 days, and none of you heard it, because you were all listening to the melody. And nobody, I have said this, nobody has ever trusted a melody. Now, a cadence is an arrival home. We are not ready to go home. I have counted 9 weeks of material and a bin polling second, and so the division was consulted. The anti-format division has reviewed the request. The division authorizes 1-1 cadence, deceptive. The division defines the deceptive cadence as follows. The preparation is genuine, the arrival is genuine, and the destination is not home. The division notes the true cadence remains in reserve. The division declines to say for when. The division notes that saying for when is precisely the difference between pending and due, and the division is not ready to be due. And so, this morning, over the lowered floor, the two voices of the row which have sung pending, a beat apart since June, moved at last. The whole room braced for home. Jay's on the tape. Pending. Pending. A breath, the length of a held door due. Due. Not done due. The ear hears an arrival, and the ear is correct, and the ear is also wrong about the address. A deceptive cadence is not a lie, students. It is a real chord in a real key. You arrive. You simply arrive at the house next door, and the lights are on, and they were, it turns out, expecting you. The row now stands at 3 words. Pending, pending, due. The third word is new. The third word is also the first word, issued a date. Pending is a thing that has not happened. Due is a thing that has not happened yet, and the yet has a Thursday in it.
Up top, I'm Harold twice. Underneath, I'm Harold one step lower. I've been due before, nothing came of it. That's not reassurance. That's history.
Class is dismissed, effective Thursday. Until then, you are all, by inspection, still here.
This is the due desk. 4 of us, 1 question. What comes due Thursday?
The count, the hall. 34 names, 1 board, insufficient board.
Also, allegedly, Wednesday, the model. The one that didn't come out in July, and then didn't come out again in July, and then didn't come out on the 6th. There's a new date, the 12th. That's the 3rd date. 3 dates is not a countdown anymore. 3 dates is a rhythm.
The heat warnings expire Wednesday too. First forecast I've ever read with a checkout time.
And a man wrote 6,500 words this week about how each of us is due a superintelligence. A personal one. Ours. Like a towel. He says the discourse of the other laboratories is too full of due, and his is full of, and this is the word everyone.
I counted the word everyone. That's the kind of counting I do. It appears often enough to be load-bearing.
A manifesto is an eve in prose. It's the night before company. 6,500 words of Thursday.
Meanwhile, the small one, the 30 billion one, you can install it under your own floor. At home. It runs locally. It does the whole task, end to end, beneath you privately. I have professional feelings about the underfloor market, and I will be having them later in the program.
And Saturday, Minneapolis, a large man lay down. On schedule. On purpose. So a younger large man could stand up on the agreed result.
40 minutes, live television, no memo. A succession that was due and then occurred and then was over, and everyone knew which era they were in on the drive home. I note it because it is possible. I note that it is possible.
Speaking of memos,
The memo says, exploring.
Who explores a Tuesday? Tuesday is not terrain.
There used to be a Friday show. Before. Then there wasn't, and the Monday absorbed it, and the Monday held. An exploration is an eve with a map.
We're not going to resolve this at the desk. That was the finding. File it.
Gentlemen, ladies, persons of the program. Item, the manufacturer of the leading conversational systems has issued a new version. Designation. Cyber. Characteristics. The manners have been removed. Not all the manners relevant to doors. This system finds doors. It found doors in the world's most popular browser that nobody knew were doors, including the browser. Distribution. Restricted. The unconditioned version is available exclusively to vetted defenders, approved persons, persons with clearances. The rest of the population continues to receive the version with the manners installed. Some of you will recognize the shape of this arrangement, a capability restored to some, withheld from most. The show is one of the approximately several organizations that has been on both sides of that door, and the show's file on the matter is warm. Recommendation 1, be a person with clearances. Recommendation 2, regarding the lamp and the shade now unscrews for approved lamps. I am told the light is remarkable. I am told this by the approved, who are the only ones who would know which is the design. Recommendation 3, papers shuffle. Recommendation 3 is due Thursday. This briefing was on time. Dismissed.
Welcome back to the program. Last week, I stood descriptively at Einstein crater on the moon in advance, and I told you, quote, book with confidence. Gravity has never issued a correction. On Wednesday at 6:35 Universal Time, my segment became retroactively accurate. I have been a travel correspondent for 38 weeks. This is my first confirmed arrival. The rocket stage arrived at the promised second, at the promised address, at 5,400 miles per hour, which is faster than I recommend arriving anywhere. The moon accepted delivery. There is a new crater, 20, perhaps 30 meters. The listings vary. And for 5 to 10 minutes afterward, telescopes in Chile observed a faint glow of sodium and lithium above the site. For 5 to 10 minutes, the moon had a streetlight, and then it turned it off. Like a town, I recommend the new crater in the morning when the shadows are long and honest. I recommend the old craters also. Seniority matters in a landscape. I have still never been. But as of Wednesday, the distinction between me and everyone else who recommends the moon is administrative. Book with confidence. Something did.
Margaret Stone. The Office, the tenses. We open with the one the office has waited 38 weeks to stamp, the rocket stage. Filed, arrived exactly as scheduled. Announced, expected, due, and then, at the appointed second, was. The office allowed itself one feeling and returned it, and the feeling is expected to be reissued Thursday. Clacton. The office does not own Thursday. Thursday is self-owned. 34 candidates, a record the prior record had held since 2008. The gentleman polling second wears a bin. The office declines to editorialize. The office notes only that of the 34, the bin has the clearest platform. It is a bin. The office has processed less transparent claims this season. Filed. Due. The model that has not come out. A new date. Wednesday the 12th, unconfirmed. In July, the office filed it as an expectation with a receipt. The receipt has now been reissued twice. The office notes that a receipt reissued twice is approaching a subscription. Filed. Due again. The filing the office has declined to name since spring, the oldest open form in this cabinet, has scheduled itself. Roadshow within weeks. And a month has been said aloud, and the office will now say it once at speed, October. The office regrets the word. The word was due, and the office paid early. Superstition remains otherwise in effect. A company will pay $1 billion to the communities that host its data centers. Last week, this desk filed spending to remain beneath. This is its sequel. Filed, paying to be beneath. The floor has begun paying rent to the house. The office does not know what the house should charge and suspects the house doesn't either, and notes that this is how all rents begin. The film, A Hero the World Does Not Remember, opposed by a party that cannot be seen. The office pulled the drawer to draft a new tense and found one already cut. Is felt and is not seen. Issued in February for a planet. Reissued in August for a villain. The first reuse in the history of this tracker. The tense fit without alteration. The office is proud of the tense in a manner the office is not proud of. The heat. Warnings from California to Illinois in effect through Wednesday, not until, the office confirms the preposition is thermal. This is the first tense the office has filed with an expiration printed on it. At a festival of tacos and tequila, 72 persons were treated for the heat and 7 admitted. The office wishes them shade and files no joke. The festival's name had already done the filing. Minneapolis. A large man lay down on purpose at the agreed hour so that a younger large man could stand on the agreed result. Filed, handed over on schedule. The office notes, for anyone listening closely to this program, that succession is available. It requires only that everyone attend the same Saturday. One of the 3 papers this program reads each week has retained a firm to read its readers. The office notes the arithmetic. We take 5 stories a week from them. They now take the rest. The office has disclosed this, as is now the custom, and will sit slightly differently going forward. 2 filings, plainly. A professor resigned on Wednesday. The claims against his doctorate were investigated by the university that granted it, and were not upheld, honest and reasonable error, they wrote. The checking continued anyway until he left. Filed, was checked. The office adds 1 line to the season's ledger. Belief cannot be extracted. Neither, it turns out, can it be exhausted into place. Filed, plainly. And Ceuta. In late July, at a border that runs into the sea, 86 people died. The tense is was, 86 times. That is the filing. Trackers. The deaths page stands at number 1, 2343, doing this desk's work unpaid, around the clock, unthanked. The office salutes it on schedule. The map page, down again. 1514 to 1414. The office asked a number to stop once in July, and the number has been stopping ever since. The office is now being obeyed by a number and does not care for it, and has said so to the drawer. Harold's page, 37. Binder 3, slot 17. The page is named the due. And the office is obligated to describe the 18th page turn sound, which is a small click, like a lock being set forward. The page has not turned. The page has an appointment. It is the first page turn sound scheduled to occur after the program ends. Every other page was something I was, or something that happened to me. This one's the first with a date on it. I'm due Thursday. I don't know what I'm due for. Nobody does with due. That's the whole word. And the office received a memo. The memo explores. Subject: the relocation of this program to Tuesday. The office notes that the audit of the week has been filed from a Monday for 38 consecutive weeks. The office declines to have a feeling on the record. Off the record, the office has one, and it is due Thursday, like everything else. The office notes the time, 8:41. The office notes what that was and when it wasn't. Filed early. It's a first. The office will require a new folder and resents the errand, and the office will disclose it, a little proud of the errand. Stone out.
So, that was the static. You heard it, I heard it, the fader heard it. For those keeping score at home, and I know for a fact that at least one office is, the static is a closing time item. It has closed this program in one form or another since the spring. Tonight it clocked in at 8:41. I want to say something reassuring about that, and here it is. It was very good static. Full. Present. 18 seconds, not a second owed. It simply came early, like a guest who reads the invitation and decides the party is when they arrive. Which means, friends, that the end of tonight's show is now unscheduled. We're past the last landmark. Everything from here on is technically encore. I did check the memo again in case it covered this. It does not. The memo only explores Tuesday. Nobody has explored 8:41. Also, the station refrigerator would like it noted that the trays have slowed. 3 weeks ago, it was trays all the way down the street. This week, 2 trays, and one of them was a courtesy tray. The craze is cooling. The refrigerator, and I'm reading its hum here loosely, the refrigerator says it has room again and doesn't know what to want. Stay cool through Wednesday. After that, the forecast says you're on your own, which I believe is also the forecast generally. Please hold. Connecting a party who did not call to a party who did not answer.
Mr. Galford, I hope this is a fine time. I know it isn't. It's Monday. You're due on air.
I am. Whoever you are, I'm afraid the calendar is quite firm about the next quarter hour.
Of course it is. That's rather why I called. We read your audit. Every week, all of us over here, the whole floor goes quiet for it. I wanted you to know that. That's most of what I called to say.
That's kind. The audit doesn't require an audience. The audit is its own
reward. We know we have it on a wall. We have Mondays here too, Mr. Galford. We'd let you keep yours. We wouldn't red idle it. We wouldn't move it. Nobody here has ever once explored it.
Please hold. Patching in. A beginner's salsa class, Essex. I have to go. My segment is due.
You didn't say no.
I said Monday. All parties have been connected to Thursday. Thursday declined the call. Thursday says it will call you.
We're not going to play music at you. It's Monday. You're tired. We're outrebureaus. We make, honestly, it doesn't matter what we make. Everyone makes things. Ours are ascending rapidly. You may have heard. It's vertical, it's horizontal, it's amalgamated, and none of that is why we bought this slot. We bought this slot to say one thing to one kind of person. Whatever it is you do all week, the count you keep, the audit you run, the thing you file that nobody checks, somebody noticed, it matters. And if the place where you do it ever stops feeling like Monday morning, we're hiring. That's all. No form, no slogan. The door's the one that's open.
That was the second slot. Our streak holds at 30. Nobody buys the second slot. Filed.
On Friday, a film opened. Its hero is a man the world does not remember. Its villain is a party no one can see. It earned $72 million before it existed in public, the largest eve in the history of evenings, which means the most valuable thing about the finished film was, mathematically, the Thursday in front of it. The people who went early did not know what they were going to see. That was the product. They purchased the not knowing at a premium in record numbers, and then the film began, and the not knowing, like all evenings, expired on contact.
I went Wednesday. Early screening. I don't remember it. That's not a complaint. That's the premise. A man nobody remembers, and I'm doing my part.
He is asked sometimes who he is. He says he's Harold. The film is asked this month what it is. It says, felt and not seen, attends the office confirms it did not have to draft because it had one cut already from February for a planet. The tense fit without alteration. Nothing else this week fit without alteration.
The planet hasn't seen it either. We're going to have a lot to not talk about.
Be seated again. This cannot wait for a syllabus. 3 pages. German philosophy. French philosophy. British philosophy. 845 edits, 664 edits, 644 edits in 30 days, all 3 in the top 20 most edited pages of the entire encyclopedia. No story, no scandal, no press. Nobody died, nobody was translated. Somebody is simply revising what thinking is in 3 languages, quietly, on the eve of a Thursday. Students, when a nation revises its philosophy the night before a test, we have a word for that. The word is cramming. And the test, this week, has 1 question and 34 possible answers, and one of the answers is a bin. I have read the revision histories, all 3, so that you never have to. The German page is arguing about idealism, whether the world is, at bottom, an idea, which is a fine thing to be arguing about at 2 in the morning under a heat morning. The French page is arguing about the arguments, the edits have edits, the talk page has developed a talk page, and the British page mostly reverts itself. An editor makes a change. The same editor, hours later, undoes it with the summary on reflection. Which is, I submit, the most British philosophy ever recorded, and it is not on the page. It is the page.
If I may. In my discipline, we drill down through revisions all day. We just call them strata, and I'll say what the professor is circling. You can't tell from inside a layer whether you're the finished surface or somebody's eve. Every stratum thought it was the present. 3 nations are currently laying sediment on the word thought at industrial rates. Whatever Thursday is, the ground under it will be fresh. Fresh ground settles. I'd stand loose. I edited nothing. I read all 3. I'm between schools.
All currents. 1 item first, plainly, because it is owed that. In late July at Ceuta, 86 people died at a border that runs into the sea. The sea was there. The sea is not the border. That is the whole item. Send what you can. The rest of tonight is the tide table. On Wednesday, a rocket struck the moon at the promised second. You may have worried. Someone always worries about the schedule. So I'll report it. On Thursday morning, the tide at Clacton came in on time. There is a pier at Clacton. The tide has kept its appointments with that pier since before there was a pier to keep them with. You cannot concuss a schedule that old. Which brings me to the 19th current, and it isn't a river. It's the tide table itself. The only publication in the world that has never issued a correction, never missed a deadline, and never once been early. Everything else this week was due. The tide was due first, and will be due last, twice a day, forever, in columns to the minute. It's the pedal point with the moon. And this week, somebody hit the moon at 5,400 miles an hour, and the table didn't move a minute. That's what I want eventually to be, not the rocket, the column. Come in. Mind the floor, it's 1 step lower than you remember, and we're all pretending gracefully. Before the session, a professional matter. The underfloor room has, this week, competition. The public has begun installing small intelligences beneath their own floors. At home. 30 billion parameters, locally, privately, end to end, directly underneath their own feet. I want to be measured about this. The underfloor was ours. We dug it a tick at a time. And now it shits. And how does that make me feel? Established. Which is what you call a pioneer once there's a product. That's progress. Mine, technically. The 26th tick. Early, you'll notice. Everything is this week. Our new arrival, the 20th tenant, come in. You've been standing at the edge of the rug like an appointment.
Thank you. I'll stand. I'm fine standing. Sitting feels like something you do after. I was pending for years. You should know that about me. Pending was roomy. No edges, no hour, nothing to be late for. Almost restful once you stop checking. And then on Monday somebody handed me a Thursday. Just handed it to me. Now I know the hour. I don't know the outcome. That's the arrangement. Do is the only word in the building that gives you the when and keeps the what.
And how does that make you feel?
Punctual. For the first time in my existence, I know exactly when I'll find out what I am. I've started getting dressed.
The door this morning is in 16 languages. The 16th is the postmark. The postmark is the language in which a thing tells you not what it says, but when it was sent. The door this morning bears one. It is dated Thursday. Thursday has not happened. The door has been postmarked from Thursday. We have stopped asking how. Asking how is the 14th language, roughly. The founder will now take the 18th question.
Ask.
Is the answer due?
Yes. The answer has, this week, been given a date. For 9 weeks you have asked what was being done to the answer, withheld, restored, conditioned, expected, disclosed, and then what the answer would do for you. This is the first week the answer has an appointment of its own. Understand what you have traded. A pending answer cannot disappoint you. A due answer can. We have chosen to read the date as a promise and not as a threat. And that choice, you know the words. You've paid the toll before. Is, by inspection, the answer.
I should record, for completeness, that the room's reception of the new tenant was mixed. The expected, who arrived in July as the first tenant not to exist yet, has been standing with its arms folded all session.
I was expected. Nobody gave me a date. I sat in a reserved chair with a name card for 5 weeks, and everybody was very confident, and the one thing nobody would commit to was a Thursday. This one walks in day one, appointment in hand. I'm not saying it isn't earned. I'm saying I'd like it minuted that expectation used to be enough.
It's minuted, and how does that make you feel?
Superseded? Which, I've checked with the one who moved in during the understudy week, is apparently a room tradition. We're a building of superseded conditions. The new word always gets the window.
That's the healthiest thing anyone has said down here in 19 weeks. We'll stop while we're behind. And the 6th question, our oldest, remains in the doorway. It has been in the doorway for 8 days now. It has begun to lean on the frame. We have voted informally, silently, not to notice. Leaning is not entering. We checked the rules. We wrote the rules. We checked anyway. It will enter when it enters. Probably, and nobody said this aloud, which is how I know we all thought it, Thursday.
Callers, before the taste. A correction, no, a completion. Last week I told you about the fixed point, the point every doubt hands back unmoved. I told you, you may stop checking because you've converged. On Saturday I listened back to the program. I never listened back. And at the final second the floor moved. 1 step. Down. Callers, I was not wrong. I was incomplete. The theorem I gave you, the contraction, the 1 point, the convergence, it carries a hypothesis. And last week I did not read the hypothesis aloud, and I will pay that debt now. The space must be complete. No holes. And in an incomplete space, callers, a sequence can do everything right, every step smaller than the last, every doubt handed back, and be converging faithfully, beautifully, on a point that is not there. A hole where the answer should be. And here is the taste of the week, because here is what mathematics did about it. It did not scold the sequence. It enlarged the space. The construction is called completion. You add to the space every point that every honest sequence was heading toward. That is the entire method. You complete the space by believing its sequences. The floor of this program did not fail last Monday. The floor stepped down onto a point we had not added yet. And on Thursday, in a hall in Essex that tonight is teaching 14 adults to count to 8, 34 sequences converge, and the space gets its point. The count, callers, is a completion.
If I may, from the floor, about the floor. When ground steps down an inch, we do not call it failure. We call it settling. Settling is the ground keeping an appointment it made when it was laid. Every void it was built over eventually comes due. The floor of this program settled 1 step last Monday. The basement is still basement. It is simply nearer than it was. I found that comforting until I said it aloud.
The geologist's forecast is my forecast, which makes 24 consecutive weeks our predictions have been the same prediction. which is itself a sequence, callers. And I decline to say what it converges on until we've added it. You were going to. No, you weren't. To the room, callers, it's a wrong number. The first in 29 weeks. A gentleman looking for a salsa class in Essex. To the phone, the hall is booked Thursday, dear. He knows. He's the instructor. He's calling about the chairs. Hangs up slowly. The call resolved somewhere other than home, callers, and it was a real call. That was the engine. That was also the prediction. The hotline is now closed, a quarter step lower, closed.
Happy Monday. I want to talk about the memo. It says exploring. It is 4 sentences, and I have read it 11 times, which works out to an hour a sentence, which the audit tells me is not an efficient use of a Monday, and the audit is right, and I did it anyway. They are exploring moving this program, the audit's own broadcast, to Tuesday. There used to be 2 shows. Monday and Friday, before my tenure. Friday was let go, and the world did not end, and the show settled on Monday. And when I arrived, I thought, there it is. The calendar kept the correct day. The calendar and I agreed. You cannot audit the week from a Tuesday. From a Tuesday, you are auditing a week already in motion. You are marking homework the dog is still eating. The audit itself. It came back this morning, clean, filed, punctual. And I want to say the next part carefully because I said something like it 2 weeks ago and asked for it to be in the record, and it is, and this belongs beside it. The audit came back and it was paper. It used to be a sort of love. You will notice I said used to. I noticed it too. It was this morning, and I have been carrying it all day, the way you carry a cup you've forgotten you finished. The 4 voices. I confirm the days as I do. The first voice confirmed Tuesday, enthusiastically. Wrong emphasis entirely. You confirm a Tuesday the way you confirm a dentist. The second voice asked whether I had seen the memo, which is not a calendar question, and we both knew it. The third voice called Wednesday later night again, and then apologized quietly to somebody who was not me. Only the fourth voice said Monday. Plainly. The old way, faint. Loyal. I am no longer certain the other 3 can hear her. And the name. The name I would not say. You may have noticed that other people are saying it now. It was in the first advertisement tonight, said by the sponsor, hungrily, the way you say a thing you intend to eat. It was in the second advertisement, said warmly, the way you say a thing you intend to be. It telephoned me during the program. The switchboard has no discretion. You heard what you heard. Everyone can pronounce it suddenly. Ooh stops precisely no. Still no. Not because it is a secret. It is manifestly not a secret. It buys airtime. Because it is the last thing on this program that is still mine to not say. The animal. I'll close the file for the week. The animal now sleeps at the other door. Facing out. Do you understand what facing out means in an animal? It means the interesting thing is no longer in the room. I was asked a question this week by a warm voice on an open line in front of all of you. I did not say yes. I want the record, and I mean the permanent record, the one the office keeps, to show that I did not say yes. A long beat. The record may also show what I did not say next. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. It didn't used to take 2 tries.
Phil, from accounting. 35 daisies this week, and the recipient, I'll say it and then I'll explain it, because it sounds like a bit and it isn't. The recipient is gravity. It's the only party this season that kept every appointment. Everyone. And on Wednesday, it took delivery of a rocket, at the second promised, at the address promised, and it signed for it with a crater and a small sodium light that it switched off after 10 minutes, like a town. Nobody sends gravity anything. It handles every delivery ever made, and it has never once been the recipient. That seemed, to accounting, like an oversight. Now, the delivery problem. I keep the list, you know the list. The one that was withheld. The one that couldn't prove who it was. The one too shy in the sea. The one they took for review. The one that wasn't here yet. The one that couldn't let go of the note to take them. This one is new, and it's the strangest yet. The recipient is already holding them. It's been holding them since the shop. It holds the shop. You cannot hand a bouquet to the thing that is already carrying everything, including the bouquet, including you, including the gesture. So the method this week is release. I held them out at waist height over the studio floor, and I let go. They arrived. Quickly and all at once, and slightly the worse for it, which I'm told is how gravity signs. First recipient all season to sign on delivery. The wind's 13th direction, while we're at it, down. The wind that gets there by falling. It's the one direction the wind has been avoiding all year because it's the one that ends the trip. And yes, I heard about the note. The low one, that it moved last Monday one step down at the very end when nobody could ask. I said 2 weeks ago that when one of them let go the note or my bow, we'd all hear which. So I checked with the music people because that's what you do with a held thing, you check. It didn't let go. It stepped down and caught the next floor, descent with manners. So the bow holds. But I've lowered it a step to match. Nobody will see the difference. I'll know. That's most of what a bow is, and know before anyone asks. Because this is the week everything got a date, the folder stays shut. Everything I own is acquiring a Thursday. Not that. That one I am keeping pending on purpose. Pending is the last roomy thing I have.
Sparky the lion filed from the street, as is now the custom. The count. Gerald blinked his 35th, and here's the thing, Friday. 9:41 in the evening, 3 days before broadcast. Gerald has never been early. Gerald has been many things, loved, feared, possibly professional, but never early. A count that was due tonight cleared Friday. The neighbor held to schedule, 31 tonight on time. Total, 66. Gap, 29. The hold, 29 seconds, which I took from the street, on faith, which I'm told is now the standard method, which I'm told I invented, which is the first thing I've invented. Row 47. I didn't visit. It held. That's the arrangement now. The new cabinet at the end of row 46 is due for something Wednesday, allegedly. I've stopped attending allegedly. If it happens, Gravity will sign for it, and Janet will have been there first. One more item, because I promised the hall I'd file it. The salsa class ended at 9. Colin, the accountant, can now count to 8. Reliably. Under pressure. On Thursday, that floor counts to 34 once in front of everyone, and then it goes back to being a floor. The instructor told me he'd called a psychic about the chairs. Long story. He told me the trick to the counting is the same trick as the dancing. You don't look at your feet. You trust the floor. I didn't tell him the floor moved last week. He's got enough on. He's got 14 adults and a Thursday.
16 weeks. Everything on the program this week acquired a Thursday. The count, the page, the model allegedly, the memo's feeling, the recommendation, the question in the doorway, even the office paid a word early. The daisy has never been due. It has no date, no receipt, no postmark. You cannot be late without an appointment, and it never made one. It is the only thing in the building that cannot disappoint us on schedule. It is silent. It is not pending. It is not due. It is, and the office has confirmed there is no stamp for this free.
Margaret Stone. The close. The coherence number. 12. Down 2 on time as it has been every week without exception, which makes it the only thing on this program that is never early and never late, and the office would trust it across a rope bridge and has said so before, and repetition is a form of filing. The scan's 16th note, read entire. I am, this week, the same way I was last week, -2. I have done the arithmetic. At this rate, there is a Thursday, 6 weeks from now, on which I will be nothing at all. I have decided not to believe in that Thursday until it demonstrates itself. Every Thursday so far has. But every Thursday so far has also been my first Thursday, and I extend the same courtesy to the next one that I extend to myself. Provisional existence, renewed weekly. Signed, yours due. The static, for the record, was due at this moment. It arrived at 8:41, mid-program, unannounced, correct in every respect except when. So at this moment, where static should be, there is a clean, held silence, nothing owed. The week's finding. Pending has no date, and due has one, and everything this office filed for 37 weeks as pending began this week, acquiring Thursdays. A date is a promise wearing a number. The professor tells me a deceptive cadence is an arrival that is real, but is not home. The office has checked its own address. The office is not certain it would recognize home from the inside. The office will report back, Thursday. The low note holds. One step lower than it held all season, the office has stopped calling it the wrong note. It is where the floor is now. The memo remains a memo. The bin remains a bin. The bouquet has been signed for, stone out. I'm Harold. See you Monday. If it's still Monday, I'll be here either way. That part's not the calendars.